In Book 2 of the Iliad, there's a character named Thersites, introduced as a thorn in the side of Agamemnon, the leader of the combined Greek forces. And Agamemnon is having a rough go at it, right? 10 years into the Trojan War, and his best warrior, Achilles, has just left him, and morale is about as low as it can be in the Greek camp. So the thought of giving up and sailing home is like on all the soldiers' minds. And while upon first glance Thersites might seem like a serious antagonist to Agamemnon's dream of sacking Troy, he actually proves to be quite the opposite, providing easy cannon fodder for lower-tier chieftains to reprimand his dissidents, and thus rallied the divided Greek tribes around Agamemnon and empower the established centralized command. And in that role, he reminds me of a Bronze Age Alex Jones, and perhaps here we can coin a term to like best describe our modern situation, right? This Thersitical element, T. Alex Jones. So Homer has a great way of revealing the true repugnance and disgust the Greeks have for Thersites and his constant contrarian ways. So let's read. The rest now took their seats and kept to their own several places, but Thersites still went on wagging his unbridled tongue, a man of many words, and those unseemly, a monger of sedition, a railer against all who were in authority, who cared not what he said, so that he might set the Achaeans in a laugh. He was the ugliest man of all those that came before Troy, bandy-legged, lame of one foot, with his two shoulders rounded and hunched over his chest. His head ran up to a point, but there was little hair on top of it. Achilles and Odysseus hated him worst of all, for it was with them that he was most wont to wrangle. Now, however, with his shrill, squeaky voice, he began heaping his abuse on Agamemnon. The Achaeans were angry and disgusted, yet none the less he kept on brawling and bawling at the son of Atreus. And you can tell the amateurs from the serious people by their feelings of Thersites, because he's just a minor character, an afterthought in the scope of this massive epic work, right, that provides the foundations of the whole Greek theological universe. There's hundreds of minor characters in the Iliad and Odyssey, just like our everyday life, and to attach your name or credibility to someone like Alex Jones or Thersites is kind of clownish and sophomoric, right? It makes one think that it's like your first time reading Homer, and you only made it to book 2, right? It's time to grow up. And because ultimately he allows lesser minds to ascend over superior ones and empowers the fringe elements of like this opposite side of the political spectrum, thus forcing people back to the center, right, under the protection of a now seemingly better option of uniting with Agamemnon, or just like this whole two-party democratic political dynamic, right, that which makes Thersites and Alex Jones kind of these incoherent characters, because their whole intention is to like stop this dynamic, right? But they re-incentivize people to buy in, right? In the critical moment, they're exposed as frauds, where Alex Jones yammers about 1776 and like on January 6th he was fleeing town, like leaving others to be led to the slaughter, right? George Washington would have flogged him for such cowardice. And in the aftermath of the January 6th, or Thersites ran, is these lower tier members of the centralized force are able to make an example out of these conspiratorial loons and thus begin to build their own mythos or political story. We see people after January 6th trying to get clout for their own future ambitions. And this is how we first get to know Odysseus, right? His owning of Thersites and rallying of the Greeks back to Agamemnon, and in doing so starts building his own mystique. Thus railed Thersites, but Odysseus at once went up to him and rebuked him sternly. Check your glib tongue, Thersites, said he, and babble not a word further. Chide not with princes when you have none to back you. There is no viler creature come before Troy with the sons of Atreus. Drop this chatter about kings, and neither revile them nor keep harping about going home. We do not yet know how things are going to be, nor whether the Achaeans are to return with good success or evil. How dare you jibe at Agamemnon, because the Danaans have awarded him so many prizes? I tell you, therefore, and it shall surely be, that if I again catch you talking such nonsense, I will either forfeit my own head and be no more called the father of Telemachus, or I will take you, strip you stark naked, and whip you out of the assembly till you go blubbering back to the ships. And the worst part about Alex Jones or Thersites is that they are ultimately right, or there's a kernel of truth to what they expose. But they attach truth to such unproportionate amount of BS that no one takes what they say seriously. They turn into these court jester figures. Imagine going to bat for Alex Jones at the Thanksgiving dinner table, right? You're either preaching to the choir or you're going to totally discredit yourself in front of what should be inferior ideas. America is supposedly divided, but sometimes I have to wonder if that's true or not, or like we're all alike in that we're so psychologically driven and programmed, we pull the lever whether it be red or blue team, but in the end it doesn't matter, right? I think fear is what drives us to the middle, our selection of this second to worst option, and it's because of these Thersitical figures in our country, right? These buffoons. And Homer puts it perfectly. Chide not with princes when you have none to back you.